back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to create a nice soft plum eggplant purpley smoky eye. So if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is prepping my eyelids. And I'll be using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. It's a pretty neutral shade, just kind of cancels out the veins that I have on my eyelids and helps to prevent any creasing or anything like that. It just really helps to even out the base on my eyelids. Now that we have that all there, we are going to just set those eyelids just a little bit using a little bit of translucent powder. My favorite translucent powder is the RCMA No Color Powder. And I think it retails for somewhere around $10. I bought mine on Amazon and it is absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to take a large fluffy brush and just a little bit of that powder, tap off the excess and work that into the lid, all over the crease, all over the lid, just to really set down that eye base. This will help all of the shadows transition a lot smoother and prevent any creasing and easy blending. Okay, now we can move on to the eye look. So for today's eye look, I wanted to use the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. It's one of my favorite palettes right now. It has a lot of different tones, a lot of warm tones. There's some neutrals. There's a couple shimmers in here that are actually really beautiful. There's a couple of rose gold tones. I really have been loving this palette lately, so I'm going to be starting off with my transition shade. For my transition shade, I'll be dipping into the second shade here, and this is called Tan. It's just a really light, like dusty peach, if that makes any sense. It's really, really nice, and I'm just going to sweep this across the lid and focus that mainly on the crease up here. For blending brush, I'm going to be using the Morphe R38, in case you were wondering. I am working this product slowly. I'm still using the same color, just building up the intensity very slowly. It's easier to build color than it is to remove. So I'm mainly working that into just the upper crease area and the outer V. Just like that. So now we have our transition shade down. I'm going to then work up the color intensity. I'm dipping into the second shade, which is going to be a dusty mauve. It is like a pinkish purpley color, and it's really, really pretty. And these shadows blend super easily, and they're super smooth and very highly pigmented. They do have a little bit of fallout, so just keep that in mind. Okay. Now that we have pretty much the base down, you could leave it like this. You could apply maybe like a nice shimmer to the top of the lids, but I'm going to deepen up that outer V just a little bit. I'm going to be using a smaller, more defined fluffy brush. This is the Bojashi smudge brush. I actually got this in an Ipsy bag a while ago, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I haven't found anything that's like it. It's super dense. It's really nice and dense, but it also just really blends out really smoothly. My outer V area, I'm going to be dipping into this second to last shade, which is called Eggplant. It's a very nice plum purple color. So I'm going to be lightly building up the intensity because this is a very pigmented color. As you can see, look at that. Tapping off as much as I possibly can and slowly working that into the outer V. I don't want to drag this up too far, because if I drag this up too far, the eye will become way too dark. And this will just create a nice smokiness. I'm just using little circular motions mixed with windshield wiper just to help really blend this area out. Okay. I like to start with a patting motion. It really helps to lock down the most product in the outer corner. Okay. I'm going to go back into the same brush that I used for my crease, and I'm just going to slowly start blending out these edges. We won't want any harsh lines. So I'm just blending out these outer edges just to make sure everything is more seamless. For wing liner, I love the NYX matte liquid liner. It's one of my favorites. I used to use the Stila Stay All Day, and that's more of a felt tip liner. But I found that this one works out a lot better, and it dries super matte, it's super dark, and it's just a lot easier to use, and I prefer this now over that. So I'm filling in that little outer section first. A lot of people are different. I like to start in the outer corner and then work my way in. Okay, wings are done. I already have my foundation and my concealer on, so if you want to see what I'm wearing, I will leave everything in the description box down below. But now I'm just going to move on to some of the cream products for my face, cream contouring. To start, I've really been loving this Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation Mega Cushion Contour. This is in the shade Cafe Au Slait. It's this really, really pretty brown shade. Looks like this. However, this can get muddy really quick, so you want to use a very soft hand. And the brush that I've been loving to apply this is the BH Cosmetics 126 brush. It's just a really, really nice soft stippling brush, and I'm lightly pressing this in there, like lightly pressing. And I'm going to be very softly stippling that right into the cheekbone, just to kind of carve out that contour. Like I said, going very slowly and with a light hand, because this can get very intense very quickly. We don't want to look muddy. And don't worry about if you drag it down too far. We're going to clean that up. We'll do a little bit of baking with our rcma no color powder to try and clean that area up. Just like that.
Got a girl from the south side, got braids in her hair. First time I seen her.
Okay. I'm also going to be working this around the temples. This will create a little bit of a shadow to the forehead. I particularly do not like my forehead. I think it's a little bit too large. I also like to bring it down this way and kind of connect it back into the contour that we did on our cheekbones. Just helps everything look a lot more seamless. So we are blending just like this. Okay. Get my hairs everywhere. Hairs everywhere. I also like to apply a little bit underneath the chin. It helps to create a really nice shadow, but I am lightly pressing this underneath here. You don't have to do this. This is a little bit extra. This is just a step that I like to do. I like to really carve out that chin line and the jawbone. So I'm just wiping this around there like that. Okay, now to set our cream contour, I'm going to be using my Urban Decay Beach Bronze Bronzer. This is in the shade Bronzed. I've been really loving this, except it is very pigmented, so it can get away from you a little quickly, so just be careful with that. I'm using a large powder brush, and this is the Morphe E3, and I'm just going to be pressing this in. I don't want to smear any of the product that I've already applied, so I'm going to be dipping into there, tapping off the excess, and lightly pressing over the top of the cream contour. See that? Just like that, working that along there. Anywhere you applied the cream contour, you want to apply the powder. This will set it and keep it from moving all day long. Okay, now for a little bit of nose contour, For nose contour, I'm going to be using this smaller brush. This is a Morphe S11. It is a dual fiber synthetic brush and it gets right precisely into the bridge of my nose. I really like it. So I'm going to be dipping into just the powdered bronzer. Sorry for blinding you. Just a little bit, tapping off the excess and working that into the bridge of the nose and into the eyebrow and eye socket. You can see that already. Look at that. Dragging that down to the edge of the nose. Okay, now I'm going to be using a clean brush. This is a clean, fluffy brush. This is from the Morphe Gunmetal collection. Doesn't really have a number on there, but I have no product on there, and I am just blending, blending, blending. You don't want any harsh lines. Just like this. Blending down that contour. Working it into the eye socket. And down the nose. Okay, so now we have our nose contour, face contour. I'm going to clean up a little bit of these edges. Sometimes I do drag it down a little bit too far. I just have very different cheekbones. Sometimes it's very hard to get a precise cut. So I'm going to be using my RCMA No Color Powder as I used before for setting my face. And I'm going to be dipping a damp beauty blender into the powder. I put some of the powder in one of these little like drugstore travel sized airplane containers because the topper on this is no bueno. They really should consider not having such a baby powder top because I can't get my stuff in there. I can't get my sponge in there. It's just, it gets everywhere. It's too much. So I'm dipping it into there just like that. And then I will be cleaning up the contour. I like to curl mine up into a little bit of a C shape. It does give me a little bit more of a pop on the apples of my cheeks. Makes my cheeks look a little puffier. Same thing on this side. So now that we have this really creepy mask on our face, for mascara today, I'm going to be using my favorite. This is the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. I seriously can't go a day without this. I've never found another mascara that does the things that this does. I have very tiny lashes, and this just kind of picks up every single lash, works on my bottom lash line too. It just really helps to give me a little bit more because I don't really have many lashes to work with. And voila, we all of a sudden have lashes. What would we do without mascara? Okay, so I'm just going to do upper mascara first, then we'll do our lashes. For lashes today, I'm going to be using the House of Lashes Wispy Minis. These are some of my favorites. I have beat them to death. They do have a little bit of spacing in between them, so I think that makes them look a little bit more natural. I'm not really one that likes a super dramatic lash, so these kind of work for me. So I'm going to quickly do these off camera, and then we're going to come back and we are going to finish our eye makeup and finish the rest of the face. For blush, I'm going to be using this one from Wet n Wild. This is one of their Color Icon blushes, and this is in the shade Rosé Champagne. It's just a really, really soft nude color, just to give a little flush of color to the cheeks. Not too much, because we already have enough going on the eyes. Just enough. Just like that. It's a little wash of color, and I also like to go over the bridge of the nose. It really just gives a nice like sun-kissed natural look and flows this whole area together so it doesn't look like you're wearing too many different products. So for a highlight today, I'm super excited. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to be using the Smashbox Casey Home collab. Sorry, that is very blinding. This is the Smashbox Spotlight Light Palette, and this is in the shade Pearl. and I have absolutely been obsessed with it lately. I mentioned it in my highlighting favorites video. If you didn't watch that video, go check it out. I will leave a link down below. But it comes with 3 really beautiful shades, the first shade being the lightest, then we have a middle shade where you can kind of build up the intensity, and then we have the darkest shade, which is more of a sparkle, more of like a glitter topper, which is really nice. When you combine the 3 shades together, it's like magic. So I'm going to be dipping into the first and second shades, and I will be using my fan brush. This is a Morphe M310. I also mentioned this in my favorites video, and I'm just going to be applying that to the apples of the cheeks and a little bit farther back. So beautiful. If you want a little bit more intense highlight, you can spray a little bit of Fix Plus, but I don't think you can get any more intense than that. Look at how beautiful that is. Gosh. Good job, Casey, because you did an amazing job on this collab, and it is my favorite so far. Okay, so now we're going to finish off the eyes. To finish off the eyes, we are going to be pretty much repeating the same steps that we did on the top for the lower lash line. Dipping into the same Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. I'm going to be starting off with the transition shade we used from our first, from the beginning, and this is in the shade Tan. And I'm going to be using a small fluffy brush. This is the Morphe 321. As you can see, it is a very soft, fits right in the corners here, right for the good highlighting under the brow bone, highlighting the tip of the nose, but it's also really good for working products and smudging products into the lower lash line. Not worry about keeping that too precise, because I'm going to be applying that all over the lash line, and then we're going to be working the other colors a little bit more precisely. Just like this. Now using the same brush and dipping into the second shade that we used, see that. That is the Dusty Mauve color, and I'm going to be working that on the outer half of my lash line. Now for the final shade, I'm going to be dipping into that same dark shade that we used before. This is the shade Eggplant, and I'm going to be using a very flat smudger brush. This is the Morphe M508. There's going to be a lot of Morphe love on my channel. I'm obsessed. So dipping that into there, we're going to work this tightly along the outer corner of our lower lash line. If you work it in too far, it'll get a little bit too dark under here. That, and using the same brush that we used from before, we are just going to blend out those edges. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of mascara on the lower lash line. And then the eyes are done. We're just going to do a little bit of highlighting. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little bit of highlighting. I'm going to highlight the tip of my nose and right the inner corner and the brow bone, and then this makeup look is complete. So I'm going to use the same highlighting palette that I was using before. And I'm just going to pick up the lightest shade one more time on a small crease brush. This is the Morphe E18. I also mentioned this in my highlighting favorites video. So I'm going to be dipping into the lightest shade and applying that right to the inner corners of my eye. Make that inner corner highlight pop. Look at that. Beautiful. So pretty. And using just my finger, I'm just going to apply a little bit to the tip of the nose, down the bridge, just like that. Work a little bit of the same highlight into the brow bone using the same brush that we used for the inner corner highlight. Now we're going to spritz with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. Fix Plus will really just help to mesh the powders into your face and just kind of make everything seem a lot more flawless and a lot more airbrushed. For lips, I'm going to be using one of my little Kylie minis. This is the mini matte liquid lipstick in the shade Angel. I believe this came in her holiday collection, and it is just a really soft pink, just like that. It's a really nice nude, and it goes really well with the tones that we have on our eyes. Right, this look is now complete. This is our dramatic springtime cranberry tones look. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, my lash. How long has that been there? Ah! I hate it when my lash is falling off. But damn, that highlight on fleek, 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 fleek.